and Dajjal?
Well, it would appear that Dajjal had influence over the people of the city at that time. And these people who are indicated do not want to be a part of that community. So they have to take.
Where is the evidence that Dajjal had influenced the people of that community? You're moving in the right direction. No, the story, in the Quran, where's the evidence? Where's the evidence? Brother Nizam, you were not here last week, you got away. Saeed? Okay, anyone? Where are the sisters? Huh? No. Question. Where is the evidence of a link in the story in the Quran between the young men in the cave, the story of the young men in the cave and Dajjal? Where is the link?
In fact, they were fleeing from him.
Yes, but that's only part of the answer. Yes?
The immediate dua is recorded at the end of the spend as Allah to.
Yes, and we must make that dua as well. But there's a very plain, clear link. When we address the subject of Dajjal, we explain that to you. Huh? You can't remember what the black ant on the black stone? The black ant on the black stone on the dark night?
The people have stayed away from religion and they are godless people.
They were actually committing shirk. هؤلاء قوم اتخذوا من دونه آلهة لولا يأتون عليهم بسلطان بين. Our people were worshipping other than Allah. Our people had embraced shirk. The attack of Dajjal will be most of all an attack of shirk. That is the link between the story of the young man in the cave and Dajjal. Secondly, as Brother Shafi pointed out, they wanted that you must become a part of that godless melting pot. The minute you wanted to stay out of it, they're coming after you, demonizing you, terrorizing you, because you resist becoming a part of the shirk, the godless melting pot. When you turn away from them and you decided to retain your faith in Allah, then came the situation where either you submitted or they're going to kill you. At that point in time, when all the doors were closed to live as a Muslim, what do you do? Well, you got to compromise now. You got to compromise now. You got to make a deal. After all, you got to live. Isn't it? Is that what they did? You got to compromise. You got to make a deal. You have to live. If they don't let you have the freedom to live as a Muslim, well, you're going to have to give up part of your religion in order to live. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now teaches us how to respond to Dajjal. The young man in the cave gave us the response that when they close all the doors for you and there is no door left for you to live as a Muslim, then what you do is that you leave that world. The Prophet said that the time will come when a believer, in order to preserve his faith, would have to flee to the mountainsides where rain falls and take with him some sheep and goats. Don't leave out the goats, eh? No goat meat. The time will come when a believer, in order to preserve his faith, would have to flee to the mountainsides where rain falls. Rain, and therefore food crops, rain, and take with him some sheep and goats. Therefore, dairy farming. Food crops, dairy farming. At that time, said the Prophet ﷺ, holding on to Islam would be like holding on to, come on somebody, hot coals. Holding on to Islam will be like holding on to hot coals. If you can hold on to the hot coals, preserving your faith, if you can give up everything and flee to the mountainsides to preserve your faith, what status would you have with Allah? Now let me give you a hadith. I quoted this hadith in South Africa. You know, you ain't see divisions yet in Trinidad. You will go to South Africa to see it. And when I quoted this hadith in South Africa, they probably had never heard it before. And the storm it created among some people because of a lack of understanding. He said, my ummah is like the rain. Have you heard it before, anybody? Have you heard this hadith before, anybody? No. My ummah is like the rain. I do not know which shower is better, the first or the last. Huh? Can you weigh the significance of these words? But they took it differently in South Africa. Said, oh, who is he to come and talk about any people who could have the status of the Sahaba? My ummah is like the rain. I do not know which shower is better, the first or the last. So that those who hold on to the hot coals, those who give up the world and flee when there is no other alternative to preserve your faith, will receive a reward from Allah that will be very, very, very great. This then is the link between the story of the young man in the cave and Dajjal. The second link, of course, is the question of time. That these young men slept for 300 years, but it appeared like a day. Now what's the hadith about Dajjal? When he is released, Sahih Muslim, when he is released, he will live on earth for 40 days, which is not 1 month and 10 days, because we're not talking necessarily of one dimension of time. He will live on earth for 40 days. 1 day like a year. 1 day like a month. 1 day like a week. And the rest of his days like your days. If you cannot penetrate the subject of multi-dimensional time, you cannot handle that job. The story, when it directs attention to time, also has yet another link with Dajjal. And that is that, remember his one eye? He sees with only one eye, the other eye is blind. he has only external vision, internally blind. Anyone who is internally blind will not be able to recognize any reality beyond material reality. Let me repeat that. Anyone who is internally blind will not be able to recognize any reality beyond material reality. And so the one-eyed people will always eventually embrace materialism. No matter what religion they have, they embrace materialism. When you embrace materialism, you're going to live for the dunya. I live for the dunya. I'll die for the dunya. Everything I do it for the dunya. Now Dajjal has actually taken control. When the heart is turned towards the dunya, what happens to time? Nice, good question, good answer. Good answer, mashallah, for attending this class. Once the heart is attached to the dunya, you will experience the phenomenon of time moving faster and faster and faster and faster. A whole year will pass like what? A whole year will pass and it will feel like a month. And a whole month will pass like a week, and a whole week will pass like a day, and a whole day will pass like an hour, and a whole hour will pass like the amount of time it takes to kindle a fire. And this is one of the signs of Qiyamah. So all that you have to do is to examine your heart to see, am I experiencing this phenomenon of time moving faster and faster? If I am, then the implication is that I have become too much attached to the dunya. Okay? The minute you turn away from the dunya and you turn to Allah, something happens to your perception of time. What is it? Time now begins to move slower, deliciously slow. Deliciously slow. Bobby's smiling now. Deliciously slow. You have all the time in the world to do everything you want to do. The day is so long that you can achieve everything. Sometimes you feel as though Allah is lengthening the day for you. So you could do this and you could do that and you could do that. No hurry, no busy. Here are very significant links between the story of the young man in the cave and Dajjal. Alright, let us now, if you have it, do you have any more questions? Yes? Between Dajjal and Shaitan. Shaitan, Mr. Shaitan is Iblis. Iblis.